It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, kind people? Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Checking out the RCWR show for this Saturday of May 25th, 2024, and for very good reason. Man, I cannot remember the last time I did a Saturday afternoon show this early. Man, because longtime listeners, if you've been listening since 2011, or if you came around 2012, 13, even 14 even, there was that time period where we did like at least 4 shows a week. Guaranteed, we always did a Saturday show. Because I remember we used to do a weekend edition of the RCWR show. And I think we used to do it around this time frame. So shout out if you remember that far back. Man, we're talking practically Blog Talk Radio days. But no, we're on for very good reason this Saturday afternoon, because WWE King and Queen of the Ring, the premium live event, just wrapped up. Love to know you all's thoughts about this premium live event. So definitely sound off and let your voices be heard. You can sound off a number of ways. We've got the X, formerly known as Twitter, at the RCWR show. You can also let your voices be heard on youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab and cast your vote that way. Let your voices be heard as well. We got the polls up, and I am looking forward to hearing what you all thought about that premium live event later on in the show. But you got some interesting options right now just to kind of get you guys' brains marinating and everything. Your choices are terrible show, good show, fantastic show, and flawless show. I will give you guys my overall thoughts later on, but I will say this as a little bit of a spoiler for those of you that's happened to follow me on X. I do agree with what RCO 1982 said. His comment came via X. Look, usually when these premium live events go down from WWE on a Saturday, I am typically at work. So for me, it's usually a case where I don't get to watch it in its entirety until I get home. Then I check it out. Usually I'll do a post show after the fact, or typically I save my thoughts until the Monday show. And this go round, when I think about this premium live event, I just can't help but go, yeah, was this something where if you had to work today and you're kicking yourself in the ass because you didn't get a chance to check it out, I would say to you, you'll be all right. Just catch it on demand whenever you get an opportunity. Nothing really earth-shattering happened. I mean, look, right down to the point. How did you guys do on your predictions? Did you get every single one of them right? I know for me personally, when I jumped out there, only one I messed up was Liv Morgan. I did not see that one coming whatsoever. Let's dive into this card and we'll talk all about it. So, nice pre-show. Did enjoy the pre-show as it consisted of Kayla Braxton, Wade Barrett, Big E. I thought they did a nice job, gelled very well together. I'm loving the fact that we're seeing more and more of Big E being involved in these pre-shows. I love it. I love it. More, please. It's just a great natural transition for the big man. I believe he's going to do very well in that position if he so chooses to pursue that full time. I know that us fans, we're just happy to see this man in some form still be involved with the WWE and still having fun. And, he is still a big old vibrant ball of fun energy when it's all said and done. And so I like how WWE has been utilizing him so far. Hey, could it lead to a situation where maybe eventually we get to see him as a full-time color commentator? Who knows? Who knows? Honestly, I'm fine with where things are right now. Make it be a special treat. Make it be a special occasion that we see Big E surface and everything. We did have one pre-show matchup. I really wish it could have made it to the actual card, but all things considered, you know what? I'm all right. Of course, I am talking about Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair defending those women's tag team titles against Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell. Now, I'm going to have to rely on you all to get me caught up to speed on the story arc there between Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell, because the last time, I don't watch SmackDown regularly, so I need you guys to fill in the gaps for me, but the last time I saw the pair of Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell, Candice was really chewing a new you-know-what out of Indi because she didn't like the fact that Candice was being always so bubbly, having this fun personality, fun-loving. She wanted for Indi to get gritty, to get mean, to get nasty. And basically, I remember she was showing her some tough love, trash talking the whole 9 yards. And we go into this matchup today, and we see Indi doing all these heel-like shenanigans. I was completely taken back by that. So I'm gonna need you guys to chat me up about that, whether it's while we're live on the air or just after the fact. For those of you that's gonna be checking this out on demand and on the downloads, I need you guys to get me caught up to speed on this in a nutshell, because I really don't want to sit through however many episodes of SmackDown the girls. I'd rather not sit through that. Just give it to me in bullet points. Hell, you can give me a paragraph. I'm okay. I'll read it, and I'll thank you for hooking a brother up. But pre-show matchup, tag champions retain. I don't think that was really a no-brainer for any of us that had heard this match being announced for the pre-show a couple of days ago. I think they made the announcement of this match, maybe 3 days ago, 4 max. So 8 minutes, change, tag champions retaining. Look, another great performance by Jade Cargill. I love that Jade. Jade is just, every time I'm seeing this woman in the ring, her execution of the moves, her pacing, everything is just crisp, fluid, still a little bit jaggy in a few areas. But overall, night and day when you just compare her work from here and now to what was going on with her in AEW. I mean, it is just leaps and bounds. I need for her, she's doing her very best, but if I had one critique where, okay, I need you to kind of work on this a little bit more, the one critique would be, I need for Jade to try different combinations of interacting with the crowd, getting them hyped up, because normally when I see Jade Cargill in these matches, Homegirl sounds like a chocobo from the Final Fantasy series. The way she just goes, she's saying "come on," but the way she says it sounds like a chocobo meets a rooster. I just need for her to kind of work on that a little bit more. But beyond that, some would even look at that and just go nitpicking. That ain't really nothing. But I mean, look, she is doing it oh so well when she gets the hot tag and she's coming in there and just the clotheslining, the body slams, body splashes, multiple stinger body splashes in the corners, left and right. I mean, she's doing everything magnifique. I got no issues with any of the stuff that I'm seeing with her in the ring. I just want her to play up a little bit more to the crowd, interact with them a little bit more, get them nice and wild up. But I got to say, I'm loving this team of Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. I mean, they really, I'm looking at this. It's funny because it almost has me thinking of how it was for me as a kid growing up in the 80s. And I'm looking at certain tag teams. And they almost have and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but I think when I say this, a lot of you guys will definitely feel where I'm coming from, which is they've given me this female version of men on a mission. You know what I mean? And I don't mean, because they're black. I'm not even talking about race. It has nothing to do with skin color, but they just give me that kind of vibe. And I remember how, as a kid growing up, how uplifted I felt when I was checking out Men on a Mission, especially if you remember those first set of vignettes from back in the day and all that, how they were trying to spread positivity, how they were trying to be all about lifting, brothers and sisters, everybody. It didn't matter the race or creed and all that. They was just trying to uplift everybody in their respective community, particularly for the kids. And I'm just looking at the way things are right now with this respected tag team. What is their name, by the way? Do they have a stable name yet? I'm looking at them and I'm going, man, if you want to do proud and, power and glory, or if you want to do black excellence, or if you want to do black beauty, like, I don't know what, but I mean, it would definitely sell. They need to, I don't know if they figured that out already, because again, I haven't really been watching SmackDown like that, but they need something that can just catch on with everybody, because they do such a really good job, I feel, in connecting with all of those demos. You got the adult men, you've got the adult women, you've got the kids, particularly the girls. The girls, I mean, that is your main audience right there. And I tell you what, Jade continuing to work with Bianca has done nothing but wonders for her. And I just love the fact that the two of them are gelling so well together. We could be seeing a long reign with these girls as the tag champions. And I know some people, they want to see that Jade Cargill that they last saw from AEW, where she was running around as a heel and, cut the Tony, that they want to see that Jade Cargill surface. Look, there's no better way to ultimately get to that point than by having Jade work with Bianca Belair. Trust me when I say this. We're going to see, for the next couple of months, this great kumbaya that's going on between these girls. But there's going to be a tag team that's going to come along, and they're going to start having the champ's number. They're going to pick up some non-title victories. They're going to pick up some one-on-one wins. Everything will eventually culminate in a tag match opportunities for these contenders. And they are going to take advantage of a miscommunication between the champs. And then from there, it's not going to be a full-blown turn, but that is what is officially going to get the gears in motion. And ultimately, Bianca will turn. Jade will eventually turn on Bianca. I do miss that heelish Bianca Belair, but I'm just looking at currently where things are right now. And I mean, when it's all said and done, if WWE does this right, they can easily put themselves in a position where ultimately, okay, we want to have Bianca go heel, which would be badass, personally. It would really be badass. I mean, Jade does the heel so damn good. So damn good. I would love, love, love to see a heel Jade run in WWE. But first things first, we got to continue to build up Homegirl. And WWE is doing a really good job of that so far. A heel Jade turning on Bianca, that just is the perfect formula to go with. Until you get to that point where Jade Cargill is ultimately a merchandise pusher and all the above that's going on with Bianca Belair. That is right. Until we get to that point, you feel where I'm coming from. You guys are checking out the RCWR show. This is our WWE King and Queen of the Ring post show. We've been doing these post shows for years. For those of you that do not have the money to check out Peacock so you can get your WWE fix on, I would highly recommend you maybe go online and you try to see if maybe NBC Peacock is offering some type of a free trial. I know usually they'll try to group it with something, but yeah, we're talking about post-show fallout. That may sound kind of random that I said that, right? Well, that's because we had somebody pop in the chat and say, how can I stream live? And it's one of those, well, there's only one way to access it, and you can access it through Peacock. And I mean, if you're tight on a budget, kind of like the Sanders household over here, then you pay the bare minimum, which is $4.99, $5.99, and you have to put up with ads. But if you're willing to put up with the ads, that's definitely another way you could check it out. So that's our first match in the books. Moving on to our second match, which was for the Women's World Championship. Liv Morgan, for the second time in her WWE career, becoming a Women's World Champion by defeating Becky Lynch 16 minutes, 25 seconds. So, Dominic Mysterio, letting it be known that he was going to be traveling to Saudi Arabia to ensure that Liv Morgan did not get her grubby little hands on that championship, Mommy's Championship, as he referred to it, because he wanted to keep things nice and hot for when Mommy returns. And boy, did this backfire big time. Big time. Becky Lynch, towards the end of this match, mouthing off at Dominic, letting him know his presence was unnecessary. His presence was not needed. He needed to go and take a hike. We saw Becky Lynch slap on a disarmor. And as all of that is going on, Dominic shows up. You're assuming to prevent Liv Morgan from getting the title. This distraction allowed for Liv to hit a code breaker, almost picked up a near fall. From there, we see a suplex from Becky as Dom slides in a steel chair, tries to encourage her to use that steel chair. Becky's not having any of it. Dom gets on top of the apron, mouthing off at the referee, distracting him big time. This sets up Liv Morgan to take advantage of that steel chair that's in the ring by hitting Becky with a DDT, followed it up with the Oblivion, and you got yourself a new women's champion. About 15 minutes and change for that matchup. Look, the match itself, felt decent. I gotta say though, kind of weird what's going on with the attire that Becky Lynch had chose for this match. Very, very weird. She was dressed like she was getting ready to play. God, what? Would you guys say she was getting ready to play classical music with the way she was dressed? That was a very odd outfit, a very distracting outfit. Not that it was revealing, because it was not revealing. It just looked as though when you were watching Becky Lynch, wait, are we sure that this woman is in the right industry? Maybe she was supposed to go and play with a symphony orchestra band at the arena down the street from where WWE was today or tonight, because her attire just, it did not scream, oh, she's wrestling. It didn't scream that whatsoever. It was hilarious looking at her dressed the way that she was. But I thought the match itself was okay. You guys know me by now if you've been checking out the show for a long time. I'm not really a Liv Morgan fan. When we're talking about this whole revenge tour stuff and everything, what I can't really wrap my brain around for the love of me is if we were going to go ahead, pull the trigger, and have Liv Morgan become the women's world champion, then why didn't this move just go down initially when we had that whole, hey, we're going to crown a new women's champion? Remember that? That went down couple of weeks back, pretty much as soon as Rhea Ripley relinquished the championship. The very next week on Raw, we had to figure out who was going to become the new world champion. So for me to see how everything had played out, I just can't help but go, nah, man, it would have made even more sense to have Liv Morgan win the championship right then and there. Of course, that creates another question, which is, okay, well, if Liv would have won way back when, then who would she had potentially faced here on this premium live event, or would she have faced anybody at this premium live event? I'll let you guys marinate on that one, but for me, I just felt a little bit perplexed as I saw how everything played out. Here, I just was shaking my head going, okay, well, I mean, I'll say a positive, though. Shout out to you Liv Morgan fans. I'll give a positive. I'm all right with the Liv Morgan as champion, pretty much continuing on this revenge tour. Look, the revenge tour, it's not full circle just yet, but it's off to a damn good start. I'm okay with Liv Morgan as the women's champion. Here is the reason why. I think the majority of us could be in agreement when it comes to Becky Lynch. The glory days of bloody face Becky Lynch, two-time, two belts Becks, whatever, the man, all of that is just, I don't know what's going on with this current incarnation of Becky Lynch. The persona hasn't really been clicking with me for quite some time. The in-ring work is still there. Make no mistake about that. I want to make sure that I'm crystal clear in regards to Becky Lynch. As far as my criticism of her goes, the in-ring work is on point, better than ever as far as I'm concerned. But the persona, it's just, something is lacking, something is missing, something feels very hollow. The match itself that these girls put on tonight was average at best. It's really about the story. It's really about the story that you need to focus on, which is the fact that you've got this major title change. Liv is now on top. Obviously, Rhea is going to be off somewhere steaming big time about what all just happened. Okay? So now the question becomes, how long does Liv Morgan hold this title now? Does she hold this title long enough until Ripley comes back and they pretty much pick up where they essentially left off. Because, I mean, the way that you can look at this is, wow, so Becky Lynch, for this go round, she was nothing more than a placeholder of a champion. And that's honestly how a lot of us had felt in the first place when we saw Becky come out as the women's champion weeks back. Remember? We all said to ourselves as a community, this really wasn't needed. Why couldn't we have this go to someone else? Someone that is definitely in need of getting a rub off, right? Somebody maybe younger that we can try to establish and everything. But this is the route that WWE decided to go. All things considered, some people may look at how this was laid out and go, hey, totally fine for it. But let's see where it goes. So look, now you officially got Dominic in the crosshairs of Becky Lynch. I'm very curious to see how much deeper this goes, because somebody that we have not seen for several weeks now, even though they've been drafted, Seth Rollins. So are we going to continue to see, and look, it was revealed during tonight's premium live event by Triple H, Paul Levesque, that officially, actually, was it? No, Triple H didn't reveal. No. It was actually a declaration that Becky Lynch had made. So before the event went off the air, we did not get a confirmation, but I would imagine it is going to be happening on this Monday's Raw. But Becky Lynch, later on in the night, very furious as Byron Saxton had tried to catch up with her and everything. She has a rematch clause. She's looking for Adam Pearce to make that rematch official. She wants a shot to win back her title as early as this Monday's Raw. Can't help but wonder how much of a factor Dominic Mysterio may play in that. Because depending on things, play itself out with that, it could be safe to say that eventually, a lot sooner rather than later, we could see Seth Rollins resurface. So I have a feeling that Judgment Day, in some shape or form, they're going to mix it up there with Rollins. That's just the honest vibe that I'm getting right now. And I know that Dom can't really do a lot of stuff right now because he's injured. And that's a legit injury, by the way. That's no kayfabe. That's a legit injury. So it's going to be interesting to see over the next couple of weeks how things play out. But you got to have in the back of your mind, Seth Rollins, he should be coming back momentarily. And you're looking at how things are laid out right now. You can easily slide him in there. WWE hit us with some interesting news during this premium live event, by the way, folks, because way to jump 2 years ahead. We find out that Minneapolis, Minnesota, in 2026 is going to be hosting night 1 and 2 of SummerSlam. You're hearing that, you're going, hey, that's great, right? Considering how things had played itself out with WrestleMania, I won't bore you guys with that. Probably a lot of you guys already know, but for those of you newer listeners, you're not really on top of your WWE news, or maybe if you're overseas and you don't really access your WWE news like that. Originally, as far as next year's WrestleMania goes, a lot of rumblings were that Minneapolis, Minnesota, they were a lock. But then things obviously shifted elsewhere. If I'm not mistaken, Las Vegas is now going to be getting WrestleMania next year. So Minneapolis, Minnesota getting SummerSlam night 1 and 2 in 2026. Well, that's 2026. We don't know what's going to be happening with SummerSlam in 2025, as Michael Cole had mentioned during the event. So Interesting how that's a continuing developing story. Some other news that we had got from tonight's premium live event, and that is, in case you guys are not aware, Clash at the Castle. Guess what? That's going to be happening in 3 weeks. Are you guys ready? Are you all a little bit fatigued yet with some of these premium live events, or are you guys good? See, it's one thing if these premium live events are coming at you every 5 to 7 weeks, because as the fan for certain, you're going to be getting some really great build up leading into these events, right? But when you have a situation like this where, okay, we just did something for Saudi Arabia, and now in less than 3 weeks, we got to get ready for this other international premium live event, mind you. We got to get ready for this one. Really doesn't create enough opportunity, does it, as far as story arcs go and everything. Now, one other development that came from this event, we find out that Drew McIntyre is finally cleared. He's been given the okay for in-ring competition again. Obviously, Drew McIntyre wants a fair shot against Damian Priest for that world title one-on-one. He's going to get it. That's going to be your main event at Clash at the Castle, or at least one of your main events at Clash at the Castle coming up in 3 weeks. So WWE, I cannot wait to see how they string this together of a card and really go in on your story arcs and all that, right down to the point. I would not be surprised. I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going with my gut instinct here. I feel that Dom is going to cause another hiccup with this Monday's Raw. And as a result of that, I could see Becky Lynch, I need Dom. Like, you got to ban him from ringside. Nobody at ringside. This crap keeps happening. I deserve a fair shot against Liv Morgan. I could see something going down where Becky gets another rematch against Liv at Clash at the Castle. That's scenario one. Scenario two still ends up being Clash at the Castle, but I could also see Adam Pearce saying, look, we've got less than 3 weeks to go until Clash at the Castle. You can have your rematch there. Take it or leave it. So one of those scenarios, but either way, I can see that being a rematch as well. So keep that in the back of y'all's mind as we get closer and closer to that next premium live event. But second time in her career, the 29-year-old Liv Morgan becoming women's champion. Hey, cool, all things considered. Next up, the Intercontinental Championship triple threat. Sami Zayn taking on Chad Gable, taking on big man Bronson Reed. He's a man, such a man. Bronson Reed. Sami Zayn retaining the championship. About 13 minutes, 14 minutes and change. Some really badass spots. And I say that in the nicest way. I'm actually complimenting. There were some really, really sick spots that was going on in this one. I loved when you had Chad Gable essentially do a back German suplex to Sami and Bronson while they all were holding one another trying to look for a suplex. And Chad Gable was the one that pretty much was able to deadlift both of those guys. I love that. Chad had some really good spots in here. I love the continuation of Otis. You're going to do what I tell you to do. And just, man, look, I got to be honest with you guys, though. There is one major flaw that's going on with this Otis-Chad Gable thing, okay? I'm sorry, not sorry, but did Chad Gable lift Otis from obscurity or something? Did Chad Gable find Otis, I don't know, sitting at the dock of the bay wasting time as a homeless bum or something? Because, you just think about the trajectory of Otis' career before he even crossed paths with Gable. And you're going, well, not for nothing, Otis, but you've done relatively well for yourself. Like, you could pat yourself on the back. I'm just wondering, what does Chad Gable hold over Otis? Because, hear me out. Because here's where there's a major flaw in this story arc. All right, the first time you smack me in the face. Okay, all right, you know what? Yeah, I don't know where my head is at. You're absolutely right. Just, okay, yeah. But then, when you talk to Sami Zayn, you know you did wrong for what you did, and then you apologize, okay? You get slapped again. I don't know about you all, but ain't no man alive. Smack me once, you lucky, if your ass don't get clobbered. But man, 2 times, 3 times. Is this smack number 4 for Otis, or is this smack number 3 for Otis? I'm just saying, man, real talk on the streets, man, you lucky if you can get 1 slap off without facing some type of retribution. So I'm waiting patiently for the commentators and the backstage interviewers to just come up to Otis and go, or even Sami Zayn, have him do it in character. What is it with Chad Gable that makes you feel so helpless, so powerless? Don't you know what you're capable of? Don't you know, can't you remember what was going on with your career before you even met Chad Gable? Like, seriously, why? Why are you continuing to let this man belittle you the way that he's belittling you? Like, seriously, it almost reminds me of a situation where you're in school, everybody's been there, everybody at some point had to deal with a bully. And in this case, you have that bully that just comes around, asks you for your lunch money. Actually, no, don't even ask you for your lunch money. Takes your lunch money. All right? Takes your lunch money. And then laughs at you in the face while doing it. And you just got to ask yourself, okay, how many more times are you going to keep allowing this bully to keep punking you out before you finally stand your ground and you knock this dude on his ass already? Girl or girl, there's been some female bullies too. Hey, one of my former best friends was a girl, and she was a bully back in the day. Telling you, true story. She was a tough cookie back in the day, man. Now she's all soft and mellow and everything. But yeah, impressive spots that was going on here during this match. Even got some really nice love there for Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn showing off some really cool power moves himself against Reed. I thought some of that was good. I love how Sami kept trying to lift Big Bronson Reed. It's just like, nah, it ain't happening here, dog. It ain't happening here. But eventually he pulls it off and everything. The fact that Sami Zayn was able to get off the Halua kick on Bronson Reed, and Bronson was the one to take the pin, that just kind of makes you wonder, and I think so. But as far as, all right, are we done now officially with Bronson and Sami? And just the way things had played out in this match, it kind of feels that way. But for Chad Gable, it still feels as though we're continuing on between him and Sami. And then, of course, how much of a factor is Otis going to be going forward? That remains to be seen. But right call for Sami retaining the championship. Totally fine with that. From there, Queen of the Ring final, Lyra Valkyria taking on Nia Jax. Nia Jax picking up the win, 9 minutes, 44 seconds. Where do I begin with this one? First of all, let me start with the positive, and then we'll go into the negative. In regards to the positive, I have said it on here consistently on this show. Nia Jax, since she's been back in the WWE this go round, has done a phenomenal job in having better matches. A lot of her matches these days, there is more fluidity. If that's a word, I'm going to make that word. If that's not a word, I'm going to make that word. But she's more fluid in the ring. You rarely see a botch from her. And longtime listeners know this. One of my main concerns with Nia Jax was her knees, because a lot of her offense comes from that upper body strength of hers. But, man, if your legs aren't strong enough and everything, you're not doing anything to take care of those legs, there goes a lot of that power offense. And my whole concern was way back when, hey, she needs to shed just a little bit of weight. And I wasn't even saying she needed, look, I'm a big dude myself. Us big people, we got to stick together. But my message for Nia Jax as just a concern was, look, you can have more in-ring longevity if you just shed off a little bit of weight. It makes it much easier on the legs. And the perfect analogy that I would use would be, look, just, you know, if you're a person that weighs maybe $150 or $190, you know, just imagine carrying around every day an extra 75 pounds. Just imagine that. Just stick your hands out. Boom. There's an extra 75 pounds. And you're going, oh, man, that's pretty heavy. Yeah, no, you don't say. Okay? So I love the fact that as far as her health and nutrition, she's been doing her best to take it more seriously. She's getting more slimmer and slimmer by the week. I don't know how much more slimmer she's trying to be and everything, but she's really been busting her ass this go round. Any and everything that has been asked of her, she's going in there. She's doing the damn thing. So this performance that she had against Lyra Valkyria, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was worth. I felt like as I was watching Lyra that I was watching some gymnastic girl that was just flippity-doo-da-day all over the place. And it was really hard for me. This is one of those rare times where typically us wrestling fans, we get a David versus Goliath story. And a lot of them are pretty good. They're believable. The size, the matchup, the styles. But this was one of those rare instances where I'm looking at this and I'm going, yeah, Lyra Valkyria, yeah, like I remember watching her in NXT, and although she had some pretty good matches, where I was deeply concerned was the connection with the crowd. I didn't really feel it was all there in NXT. And my concern was, man, if a day ever comes where this gets transplanted, her character and all that as it is, gets transplanted to the main roster, I'm not really sure how that's going to gel, if it's going to gel at all and everything. I did not think for one second that Lyra was going to win this. I always felt Nia Jax. Shout out if you had checked out my predictions, by the way. I uploaded that as technically a YouTube short. But I never believed Lyra Valkyria was going to win this. So instead, what I was looking for was a really great, strong performance that would say, okay, look, she might not have won this, but as far as a bright future ahead of her, we could definitely be looking at a future women's champion and everything. I don't know. The verdict is still out. Like, I'm still in that scouting phase. I'm still in that, let me just lean back and just really watch this. I'm still in that kind of phase, but I will not deny WWE this. the way that Triple H, Paul Levesque, have introduced her to the WWE Universe, you couldn't ask for a better layout. There's no disputing that. You cannot ask for a better layout, a right, proper introduction to the mass WWE audience. So I will definitely give them that. I love the fact, by the way, and this is my first time mentioning this, I love the fact that Triple H made the announcement that for the respected King and Queen of the Ring winners from this event, future World Championship title shots at SummerSlam. I love that. As I always have said here on the show, when it comes to some type of a Rumble match, like a Battle Royale, or this person's facing this person, even the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring, like, what's the incentive? Why are they doing this? Because, if there's no extra incentive, you feel me? What's the carrot dangling over that person's head to want to do this? Great move. Great move. You're putting back prestige. You're putting back honor. You're definitely addressing that incentive for why this tournament matters. I love that. Good stuff right there. But, man, so now we got Nia Jax, the Queen of the Ring. She's the Queen of the Ring. Let me say that one more time. She's the Queen of the Ring. I cannot help but wonder if another queen is going to have issue with that. You know who I'm alluding to? I'm talking about Charlotte Flair. I don't know where she is in her recovery process. I know Ric Flair had said on a recent podcast, I'm not sure if it was his podcast, but he talked about how Charlotte has to follow doctor's guidelines, regimen, and basically she's got to rehab and train. 9 months was the timetable that I remember him putting out there. But could she be back a lot sooner than that? Anybody that's following her on social media, you see her training videos and all that. She seems to be coming along very nicely and at a fast rate. You can't help but wonder. But it would have been nice to see Nia Jax and Becky Lynch potentially at SummerSlam. That really, really would have been just to really make things come full circle. I can't get enough of those two girls beating the crap out of each other personally. But now the way things are looking, it's safe to say that we're going to see Nia Jax. I'm trying to think, who is the women's champion? Who's the women's champion on SmackDown? Can you guys jog my memory real quick? I mean, I know we got Liv Morgan over there on Raw, but who's the women's champion on SmackDown? Because I'm drawing a blank right now. Is it a babyface? Give me the name, and I'll make sure I show you guys some love. But it kind of seems like those two are going to definitely be going at it. And then as far as Liv Morgan goes, and what's going to happen with her coming up at SummerSlam, your guess is as good as mine as far as who could she possibly face. I don't think it's going to be Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. I don't see that happening whatsoever. I wish I could say Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam, but I don't see that happening either. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling. We only got a couple of more matches to talk about here. Matter of fact, we only got 2. For you guys that's keeping track, we only got 2 more matches. My favorite match of the night, I loved it more than the main event. I'm talking about the King of the Ring, Gunther, taking on Randy Orton. Damn good stuff. Damn good stuff. You know what? We got people cracking jokes. Hang on. I'm going to have to, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Hang on. Because that's going to bother me now. Trying to find out who the champion is, and that's the first time I'm drawing a blank on who the SmackDown Women's Champion is. So let me just answer my own damn question here. Where are we? That sucks that I cannot remember And hang on. Hey, Google, who's the current WWE Women's Champions? Google's trying to help me. Right? Right? Google's already updated. Google's already updated. They're talking about Liv Morgan there. But who is the women's champion over there on Bailey? Bailey. So Nia Jax, Bailey. I didn't even have to read that. It just finally, and I don't know why, but I just pictured Bailey smacking me on the back of the head going, Lee, you should know damn better, man. Like, I thought you were my fan. I could not believe I drew a blank on Bailey. That's bad. I am so sorry, Bailey. I love you. I love you. That's just utter disrespect. That's just not cool. Not cool. But no, Nia Jax, Bailey at SummerSlam. That should definitely be badass. All right. So my favorite match from this premium live event, Gunther taking on Randy Orton, King of the Ring tournament final. Gunther picking up the win, 21 minutes, 50 seconds. By the way, love that Saudi crowd. Love that Saudi crowd. I know at one point the little kids actually chanted, oh, and I'm hearing these kids. They sound like they've got to be 8, 9, 10. And I'm just picturing the parents giving them the evil eye because when they were chanting that, man, did it get quiet real quick. You know, at first it was maybe 20 little kids chanting it. And then within seconds, it got down to 7. And then maybe 2 kids just chanting that. And I popped big time because I'm going, I know we were making our advancements out there in Saudi Arabia, but, you know, wait a minute. Let's just pump the brakes a little bit here. Get a little bit too comfortable here now. Love the ovation that Randy Orton had got. Seems that France crowd had really rubbed off on our Saudi fans here as they were showing a lot of love to Randy Orton. As my wife likes to say, that Randy Orton is a big boy. And I just go, Randy, man. Randy looked like he got about maybe 3, 4 more world title reigns left in him. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how the commentators try to paint this as far as Randy Orton goes and whatever remaining time he has in the WWE. I loved the hell out of this match. Great psychology all around. And I am a sucker for really great in-ring psychology, especially when it's done right. I loved everything about the psychology in this matchup. The pacing, the deliberate pacing, the timing. I love the fact that both of these guys, especially with Randy Orton being the in-ring veteran that he is, realizing that there's certain moments here where you just gotta pump the brakes a little bit and either slow the tempo down and really milk every move, every energy, every reaction that's coming from the crowd, right? To the point, I love that Randy Orton came out there, moment his theme played, feeling it from the crowd. And my guy just freaking takes his dare sweet time getting into the ring. It must have been at least 10, almost 15 minutes before the match finally got started. And Gunther is just standing there. It's almost like that scene from Rocky IV where Apollo Creed has this grand, big, epic entrance. And Ivan Drago is just standing there with a stone cold look on his face. He's just ready to throw down. He does not care about these theatrics at all. He doesn't care about the ovation that this cat is getting. He's just ready to knock a mofo out and keep it moving along. Gunther, Ivan Drago in this moment. But Randy Orton, you know, he's not doing the Apollo. He's not shucking and jiving and playing up to the crowd. Not like that, at least, but he is methodically taking his dare sweet time walking into that ring. I love that. I ate that stuff up big time. And then even at that, once the music finally stopped playing, Randy Orton still playing up to the fans. Everything was just, no, let this breathe. We got something that feels kind of magical here. And it did. I was literally getting goosebumps. And it's very rare I get goosebumps over a particular match. But I definitely was getting it here. I love the story of Randy Orton, his body, what was going on with him physically, and how it seemed like many times throughout this match, his body was failing him. I thought the commentators and Corey Graves, Michael Cole, did a really good job with that, cementing the fact that, hey, we know that Randy Orton, he had back surgery and he's having these issues with his legs. I loved how all of that had came into play as Gunther exploited the hell out of those spots. Loved that big time. I loved how early on Randy Orton tried looking for the RKO. And Gunther, in story, scouted Randy Orton big time. Watched the tape, knows all about this guy, was able to just push the hell out of Randy off of him. Randy landing on his back, and the way Randy sold that, grimacing with each move, I loved it. All of that was great. Fantastic storytelling. I loved it. This was really good. Psychologically, this was really, really good. I mean, in-ring wise was on point as well, but it lived up to the hype, because when you saw that these two names were going to face one another, especially if when you were filling out your bracket, you're going, nah, at the end, I got these two taking one another on. This match lived up to the hype as far as I'm concerned. Is it a match of the year? I don't know about that. We throw that around so easily. I don't know about that. Is it worthy of an honorable mention, though? Yes, it definitely is worth a honorable mention. And like I said, I'd be shocked to hear someone who did not like this match, because this was a very nice, slow, long in a good way, paced match. And for Gunther to just, like a surgeon, continue to work on that back, continue to work on that knee. The only caveat, only issue I have with this match is what happened towards the end. It kind of seemed as though the referee botched, because in the final moments of this matchup, Randy Orton tries to go for an RKO, gets a near fall, but Randy's knee, his knee is pretty much betraying him to the point he can't put all of his force or weight on that knee when he tries to go in for the cover on Gunther. So it's basically a half-assed cover that Randy's doing on Gunther. You get the one, you get the two, and then we see Gunther pull off this roll-up. And yet somehow the referee ignores Randy Orton's shoulder. I mean, clear as day. I mean, go online and you can see the photos for yourself. But clear as day, Randy's back is nowhere on the mat. And you can't help but wonder, okay, referee, what's going on here, man? Seriously, what's going on here? Even Corey Graves, the keen observer that he always is, tried to mention this and ask the guys in the truck if they could maybe bring that footage back up, because to him that just looked a little bit controversial and everything. But it kind of seems as though we had a little bit of a hiccup in those final seconds of the match. But despite that, putting that to the side, the match
was on point. Look, I wouldn't even mind it if it was a case where that was done on purpose so that eventually you could have the two of these guys run it back. I'm okay with that. If that was a mistake, I still say, okay, you know what? Turn it into a story arc anyway. You got something there that you can go back to where eventually you have both of these men face each other. This was a milestone of a win for Gunther, which, by the way, I loved his post-show or post-victory speech. You got the Saudi crowd chatting to him, "You deserve it." And Gunther has the best comeback line ever. "What I do and don't deserve is none of your business." I popped big time for that. I loved it. I loved it. Spoken like a true heel. Yes, too many times we have seen heels that do this great work, and then the fans are starting to, they're starting to really love that heel. They're coming on board and everything. And we've seen heels basically, yeah, thank you. Yeah, you guys, you recognize game. Good game when you see it. Yeah. No, bump all that. Trash him. Gunther did just that. Loved it. Good stuff. Damn good stuff. Loved it. Gunther bragging about how he took out Randy Orton. Promises to win the world title at SummerSlam. So I guess Damian Priest. Tick-tock, right? Got another piece of big news that came from this premium live event. Crown Jewel is coming back to Saudi Arabia on November 2nd. Crown Jewel, Saudi Arabia, November 2nd. Gunther, great performance against Randy Orton. Without a doubt, that's going to be, as far as Randy Orton and his career, when it's all said and done, it's already of legendary status. It's already of Hall of Fame status. We're definitely looking at a future WWE Hall of Famer. What better way to get Gunther over even more by having him take out Randy Orton? That's great. And the fact that Damian Priest and Gunther at SummerSlam, man. I mean, can you just imagine that? I mean, we essentially have two heels that's going to be going at it at SummerSlam. Just potentially the idea of that. That is some taboo, unprecedented territory that just makes that WWE fan go, are we really going to get that? Or are we going to get a hiccup in between now and SummerSlam? Because that's just, right? Like, no, surely it's going to be a baby face that's going to get the title like that. No, like something doesn't compute. It just doesn't, right? The idea of Imperium potentially mixing it up with the Judgment Day, that intrigues me, I gotta say. That definitely intrigues me. All right, so we got one more match on the docket. SmackDown World title, basically. Cody Rhodes defending it against Logan Paul. I mean, this was a no-brainer, right? Cody Rhodes retaining the championship. What do I say about this? What do I say about this one? First of all, I hate that the end result is what many of us expected, right? Because that in the back of your mind, you then have to flip the script and you got to go, well, what can I focus on instead of the obvious outcome? Can I just focus on the quality of the match? Can I just focus on how Logan Paul, did he step up to the plate and hit another home run? And if you were able to put the obvious finish to the side and get lost in those elements I just highlighted, then you'll come away going, you know what? Pretty good match. Not as good as Orton and Gunther, but a pretty good match. This Logan Paul kid, this dude's a part-timer. This dude is a part-timer. And every time he gets in there, this dude just keeps hitting it out of the damn park. He keeps hitting it out of the damn park. I mean, every time this dude shows up, Logan, it's the fourth quarter. Man, we got 3 seconds left. We can win this game if you're able to hit a three-pointer. Logan Paul is just like, yeah, okay, I got it. I will be open. You just make sure I get the ball. It's going in the hoop. Don't get fouled now. Like, don't worry about it. Just give me the ball. When you see me open, I'm going to make that shot. That's Logan Paul. I mean, he is just ice cold, that damn good. I am really, really impressed by how freakishly fast he is coming along in his development as a wrestler. You know, what was it now? Almost 2 years since he's been with the WWE? I mean, it's impressive. It is damn impressive. I don't mind Logan Paul in which the way he lost in this match, because we had some shenanigans that was going on here, all around the ring when it's said and done. So apparently he signed some documentation that he was not going to have a pair of brass knucks involved in his match against Cody. Lie detector test determined that was a lie. Okay. We've got Michael Cole scolding him like... I love the way Michael Cole scolded Logan Paul, by the way. He scolded him like it was an episode of Leave It to Beaver. And the dad is just like, now, Beaver, you know it was wrong to take that 50 cent, which was supposed to be for our milk this week, and blow it all on candy. Gee golly, sir, you're right. I mean, it was almost like one of those type of deals with Michael Cole chastising Logan Paul. I loved it. Good stuff. Right down to the point, Logan Paul was ready to backhand the hell out of Michael Cole. And you got Corey Graves just standing in the middle. I loved it. Good stuff right there. We even had the Saudi ring announcer get involved in this. Just when it was looking as though, oh man, Logan Paul's going to steal this. What the hell? Not like this. Not like this. We see from in between the ropes, somebody grab on Logan Paul's ankle. You're going, what's going on? And it's the Saudi ring announcer. Oh man. Logan Paul was pissed. He didn't like that one little bit. But Cody Rhodes coming back, hitting the crossroads, retaining the title and everything. I don't mind the fact that Logan Paul lost to shenanigans. I don't mind that whatsoever. He's still the U.S. champion when it's all said and done. And the way in which he lost, he can easily come out there on the very next SmackDown and lay claim that the only reason why he isn't the world champion right now is because of, some Cody Rhodes fanatic in Saudi Arabia, right? I mean, he can easily go that route, and I would not be surprised. I'm going to make a bold prediction. Since WWE is returning to Saudi Arabia in November, I would not be surprised if Logan Paul came out on the very next SmackDown, called that ring announcer out and said, don't think for a second that you and me are done after you cost me the world championship. We aren't done by a long shot. I'm going to meet your ass again down the line. And I got a receipt. I'm going to cash on your ass. Don't be surprised if we're going to see him try to extract some type of revenge. And I just see something going down where a major star maybe comes to the scene and saves him. Not a Cody, but maybe somebody we haven't thought about in a while. Hell, look, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it was a scenario where, I actually kind of like this idea. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe in November, CM Punk maybe makes an appearance and saves that Saudi ring announcer from Logan Paul. Let me know how you guys are feeling that idea, or if you want to go in a different direction. But kind of feel as though we're definitely going to be seeing something of a hyped, talked about, engaging social media moment. Mark my words, Logan Paul and that Saudi ring announcer, they're going to be meeting again for sure. So with that, that was WWE King and Queen of the Ring in a nutshell. It's interesting because when I look back on this premium live event overall, the matches themselves, starting from the pre-show going onwards, it kind of seemed like, and this is the best analogy that I can use, and I hate using a food analogy, but it's so easy as far as using a food analogy. Picture something that you love eating that you have to put in the oven, and it takes time for it to just bake just right. That's how this event came off. You're looking at the first handful of matches, and you're going, okay, yeah, that was nice. That was good. But then when you get down to the last two matches, those last two matches, you're going, oh, where y'all been? Like, that's when you finally start to wake up. That's when you finally start to wake up. I like the fact that we've gotten to a point now when it comes to these Saudi shows, WWE is doing their best to, we'll toss you a curveball here. We'll definitely do that. Let's toss a curveball here. They're trying to, they listen to all the feedback that's happening on social media and all that. They know that for a lot of fans, when it comes to these Saudi shows, I can skip this. Nothing important is going to happen. It's just essentially a glorified house show. Was that the case here with this event? Yes, within reason, but at the same time, the culmination of the King and Queen of the Ring tournament coming to its proper end, with great emphasis on the fact that the winners are going on to face champions, world champions at SummerSlam. So that extra incentive being added into the mix. SummerSlam essentially, partially being set. There's obviously loads more matches to go because it's going to be a 2-night event. But to see this nice, slow build-up for SummerSlam, I dig that. To also see a partial build-up for your next premium live event in 3 weeks in Clash at the Castle. I was about to say Cash at the Castle. I bet there is Cash at the Castle. Let me have somebody, boy. But solid show. Overall, I probably would have to give this, just going back and looking at the matches overall, 6 matches total. I probably would give this a respected. Well, let's break it down like this. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, I would give that one a C+. Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, I'm giving that one a C+. Triple threat match for the IC title, I'm giving that one a B-. Actually, yeah, I'll give that one a B-. Nia Jax, Lyra Valkyria, C. Gunther, Randy Orton, I really love that match. A-. Cody taking on Logan Paul. I'm giving that one a solid B. That's B as in boy. So overall, I probably would give this pay-per-view I'm leaning towards a C plus to a B minus. C plus to a B minus range. I can't give you guys a firm letter grade, but B minus to a C plus is where I'm at. I'm not going higher. I'm not going any lower for sure. C plus might be a little bit too harsh for some, but if you were to force me to give a letter grade, I'm gonna give it a pending B minus right now. I'm curious to see where my headspace is at when I come back on air Monday night and revisit this premium live event with you guys. Scale of 1 to 10, though. 1 being crap, 10 being awesome sauce. I'm 7.25 for this premium live event, for sure. Let's go to the polls, and let's see how you guys had voted. Let's go to X first. See what you guys are talking about over there. Oh, I see we picked up another follower. What's going on here? What's going on here? Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. Got a verified follower. That's all that matters. As long as it's actually a real follower, that's all that matters. Shout out to my people that's checking out the stream via X. Hello to you guys. Make sure you sound off. Let your voices be heard on what you thought about the premium live event before we get ready to wrap it up there. I'll be able to read your comments down below. All right, so where we're at right now on X, I'm seeing 6% of you said flawless show. Well, 16% of you rated it a terrible show. 32% of you, good show. Top dog right now, 45%. Fantastic show. Thank you to those that voted via X. RCO 1982, RCO 1982 felt that it was just okay. Wasn't horrible, but nothing really moved me. It was typically WWE decent, but hard to keep my attention. I will say, when it came to the first couple of matches, I must admit, I did find myself to be in a position of it's hard to concentrate because it just kind of felt as though, this ain't really nothing. Not saying that as a bad thing or anything like that, but just, no particularly. I got it on, I'll look up and watch, but But then when you get to the later matches that I was talking about, then you're going, okay, now you got my attention. What's going on here? All right, let's see here. Let's go to YouTube, youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab. Right now, I see a tie. 17% of you said flawless show, while the other half of you said a good show. Top dog right now, 67% of the votes. Fantastic show. Appreciate you guys that voted. Continue to vote. You guys can vote for the next 24 hours, so definitely go there. And shout out to, I don't know how to pronounce your name, so I'm just going to say Tumu, who said that he is in Uganda. Don't take what I had said earlier as a diss as far as how you can check out WWE on Peacock and all that. Like, you know, if you were picking up sarcasm or something along those lines, apologies, but there was no sarcasm, no dickish, no heelish stuff in what I was putting out there. I simply was letting you and everybody else know how at this point you can check out WWE, especially if you're trying to check out the premium live events. You're not trying to pay for the pay-per-views. You know, you want to check it out at a decent price. But, you know, rather than ask me specifically how you can watch, I mean, you just said that you're in Uganda. I don't know how the streaming and all that is in that respected country. So my best advice to you would be to maybe do some research online, do a Bing or Google search for your respected area to find out how you might be able to access the WWE there. Because for all I know, maybe, because I know in some parts of the world, the WWE network, it's still its own entity, at least until further notice. So maybe that's something that's going on in your respective neck of the woods, or maybe you do have access to Peacock. I couldn't personally tell you because I'm over here in North America, and usually North America, Canada, I think Australia as well. We all are pretty much, we got like the same options, give or take. Muhammad, King and Queen of the Ring, hell of a show. Fairly decent. I would definitely say fairly decent. Oh, hey, by the way, make sure you hit the hell out of the like, because I see we've been picking up some subs, a lot of subs these past couple of days this week. Also been picking up a lot of views and likes on some of the content as well. So definitely keep that going. Really helps put more eyeballs on the content. And we're so close to cracking 14,000 there for our subs. So definitely keep that rocking, keep it going. Let's see what's going on with this premium live event on my favorite website. Let's see what's going on via Cage Match and see how people are rating this event so far. You know, by the way, as I'm pulling this up, I forgot that AEW is going to have their own pay-per-view event. I totally forgot about that. Sunday, as a matter of fact. Had I remembered, I definitely would have offered some predictions and looked over that card as well. But at this point, what I'll say to you guys is yes. Yes, wifey's asking if she's still going to the fresh market. Yes. But I will be live with you guys once the event has wrapped up for AEW's. What is it? What are they on now? Double or Nothing? I'll definitely be live soon as that bad boy wraps up. So right now on Cage Match, they have a 8.10 rating for King and Queen of the Ring. I'm just looking at, I see a lot of 7s right now. I see a few people giving it an 8. I see one loner giving it a 9. Let's see what else. Yeah, 7 and 8s is really sticking out to me right now. I do want to read to you guys the most critical, most neutral, and most positive for the event. Right now, off the break, I am seeing somebody rated the event a 1 out of 10. Let's hear what they have to say. And let's see if you guys agree with some of this criticism. This comes from Pure Wrestler 33, who had the following to say. Damn, that show sucked. Triple Threat was good. Gunther match good, but finish was so damn horrible. Queen of the Ring final match was so freaking bad. Lyra carries that match, and main event was so damn bad. Cool spots, horrible bad endings. They killed Cody's babyface character. You all agree with those sentiments? I think that's a little bit too harsh. I wouldn't rate it a 1 out of 10. I mean, there's definitely some good elements in here that he had liked, but man, if it was that bad, I just can't help but wonder why sit through the entire, 2 hours, 45 minutes, almost 3 hours of a show? Let's see if the comment and rating for 2 out of 10 is better than that one. A disappointing show, and this comes from Arkham, Outlaw 10. A disappointing show. Gunther versus Orton was the key highlight, but the finish was botched. I agree. Very unfortunate end to a match that was very entertaining, although not to the level that you'd imagine those men could reach. Paul versus Rhodes had a good action and an impressive performance from Paul, but the lack of sustained selling from Rhodes and a terrible finish hurt its credibility. Yes. Yes and no. Yes and no. Because I'm not going to say it hurt Cody Rhodes' current run as a babyface champion. I'm not going to say it hurt him as the current champion. I'm not going to say that. Could Cody have sold better? What more selling was the man supposed to do? Once Logan Paul was on the offense, whether it was because of a rake to the eyes or what have you, was he having his way with Cody there? Was Cody selling for Logan? Yeah. I thought he did a nice level of freaking selling. So, yes and no. Like I said earlier, I still feel that with what they did with Logan, having him basically not become champion because of the interference from the Saudi guy, really stop and think about it. You had Cody Rhodes defying all the odds there because he was messing around with Logan Paul's prime entourage. So he's messing around with them. I mean, it was so one-sided at that particular point in the match that at the very end, the fact that he had one ally versus a crew. See what else he says here. Finishes were a big problem throughout every match on the show. Really. As I didn't care for the sudden Lyra finish in their atrocious match, as it made Lyra look like a total buffoon. I wouldn't say it made Lyra look like a total buffoon. I actually enjoyed the finish to that match between Lyra and Nia because Lyra and Nia, that's a good one. The finish, it just came from out of nowhere. And I mean, let's be honest, it kind of brought back the retro days of Yokozuna, because that was stuff that Yokozuna would do to finish off his opponent and everything. I love that finish was so spontaneous and it literally came from out of nowhere and the match was essentially over. Like, real talk here. You're really going to lead me to believe that Lyra Valkyria, who probably weighs maybe $145? You're really going to lead me to believe that when Nia Jax, who is probably, my God, I know she's slimming down, but what would you say, guys? Nia Jax is probably at this point? Maybe 225, maybe close to 230. You're honestly going to lead me to believe that once she puts all that weight from that corner down on Lyra, that Lyra is supposed to somehow kick out of that somehow she's supposed to put an arm out and reach for the ropes? I don't think so, Tim. I don't think so. Let's see what else we got here. But as far as looking at the finishes to the other matches, I just want to look at the card one more time to his point. Pre-show doesn't count, right? Because, I mean, they pretty much, right? I'm assuming we're not counting the pre-show. Because with the pre-show match, that pretty much was clean. Liv, Becky, yeah, you had the Dom interference. Kind of stupid, the way it backfired, if you want to call it that. Or did it backfire? Did it backfire? Are things going as according to plan for Dominic Mysterio? I could make to you an argument that Dom and Liv have come to some type of okay, I seriously believe that what we're seeing right now, it's all about ultimately a Rhea Ripley that's going to come back thinking Dom Dom is still her boy toy. Dom betrays Rhea. Babyface Rhea cemented. Dom doing everything he can for Liv. That's how I'm seeing things play out. So I need you guys to pull the reverse psychology here in regards to what you saw play out there with Dom's interference in that Liv Becky Lynch match. Sami, Chad, Bronson. The Otis stuff was silly. I wish Otis would have finally pushed back. I just can't help but go, man, take away this dude's man card, because if we see him get slapped any more times, it's just, it loses that. Oh, it loses that. But the finish to that one, no, I really didn't have an issue with that one. Nia Jax, Lyra, Valkyria, no, I was okay with that. Gunther, Orton, that finish, man, that referee, I mean, clear as day. It's hard to really, yeah. Cody, Logan, not a good way to end the joint. Not unless you planted seeds for November. Obviously, you're going to have to remind people, hey, this is what happened the last time we were in Saudi, right? But I'll give him that one. I'll give Outlaw that one as far as the finish to the Cody Rhodes, Logan Paul. I'll give him that one. Cool. Getting a text message from wifey. See, what else do you say here? Finishes were a big problem. The finish to the triple threat was poor melodrama that completely wrecked the flow of the match. And Liv's finish prioritized the male outsider over herself or Becky. I'll give you that. But again, this is all about the story. This is all about the Liv Morgan story. There was also far too much downtime in between matches. So much of the show was advertisements and long entrances. Now, I got to push back. I'm not defending WWE. WWE don't pay me. But as far as the advertisements, I can't stress this enough. Depending on what tier package you have for Peacock, if you have the basic, it's hard for me to stay focused because my dog is licking my toes. That's her way of just trying to show affection, but it tickles big time. So I'm trying to keep a straight face. But anyway, if you have the most basic Peacock package, you're going to see ads. In my case, every single time I turned around, there was a Pizza Hut ad, and they're showing this white girl with this reddish hair. And she's like in her living room in front of her sofa or whatever, and her hair is just blowing in the wind. And she's just very, very prettily, I'm making that word up, very prettily, it's pretty, folks. She's eating a slice of pizza, and I'm going, who the hell looks sexy when they're eating a slice of pizza? Like, seriously, what the hell? I thought I was watching that Nick Cage gif where he escapes prison and the hair is just blowing face off and the wind is just blowing in his hair and he's got this big smile on his face. That's what it reminded me of, seeing that Pizza Hut commercial repeatedly. Now, if you have the higher tier packages, then you'll be able to bypass all of that and you'll pretty much be able to see WWE as usual with these premium live events. Hey, let's give you the tell of the tape to let you know how we got to this juncture. And you get that. So at that point, that's your opportunity to go, I'm going to get a drink refresher, snack, I'm going to use the bathroom, whatever. that's pretty much all he had said. Okay, so let's look at something that is in the middle here. Sarah gave it a 7 out of 10. It's a weird pay-per-view to rate. The matches were fine for the most part, but the booking leaves something to be desired. Why have Nia win Queen of the Ring? Why have Logan wrestle Cody for the title instead of defending his own? I do agree with that. I must admit, I thought it was rather weird to see that Logan Paul was defending, that Logan Paul was not defending his United States Championship, and yet he's getting a shot at the World Championship. I thought that was very, very odd. She goes on to say, and even the match that everyone was interested in for Gunther versus Randy ends weirdly with either a botch or an unnecessary dirty finish. It's better than the old Saudi shows, but don't get me wrong, it's no backlash either. I agree with that. I definitely agree with her assessment. Chris, 777, 6 out of 10. Fairly okay pay-per-view. There are a few highlights, but most range from somewhat boring to somewhat enjoyable. I would agree with that. The opener was not exciting. The three-way was fun, but had a cheesy ending. The Queen of the Ring final was a solid story match. King of the Ring, on the other hand, tried to achieve the same, but was too slow and pace mismatched to be as dynamic despite having a hotter crowd. And the main event was nothing to write home about. Not bad at all, but neither is it memorable. I feel those comments. All right, let's see. Most positive. I see one person actually 3 people gave it a 10 out of 10. 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, 7 people, 8 people, 9 people, 10 people, 11 people gave it a 10 out of 10, but they did not leave any comments. There are others that rated it a 10 out of 10 and left a comment, such as D. Macy 15. Keep it up, WWE. Since WrestleMania, I have not been disappointed at all. Backlash France was spectacular with great matches, as was this. King and Queen of the Ring felt relevant and important to future storylines. I believe in Triple H. Let's see if we can find... Soul gave it a 9 out of 10. A roller coaster of a show with great matches, spots, stories, and angles. An overall fun show with lots of emotion. The only thing was that about 2 minutes of the Queen of the Ring match was boring and the wrong person won. But otherwise, keep up the good work, WWE. Austin Berg 5001 says, a banger of a pay-per-view from start to finish. This was a fun show to watch. Great start to a weekend full of pro wrestling for the sickos. Solid A show. Robbie gave it a 9 out of 10, saying it was a very solid event. There were 3 solid matches and 2 decent. There was a lot of excitement. And I'm seeing a bunch of 7s that's in here, by the way. There's like a ton of 7s. But, yeah, that's where we stand right now with some of those ratings. All right, let's circle on back here. Hop in the chat, see what's going on. Actually, you know what? Let me show some love to my guys over at X. Make sure I'm not missing any comments via X. I want to make sure I'm caught up. Yeah, we're good. We're good on X. No comments. I now got to start having a X stream open so that I can see a comment and react, because I missed a couple of comments from X off and on the last couple of weeks. Because sadly, the X comments do not pop up in this one chat where I have everything. I got to go outside to see those. When do I think Uncle Howdy will appear? Joe asked the question. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm not being a dick about it. I'm just giving you the God's to honest answer. I like what's been going on with the whole QR code stuff and everything. I'm digging it. But as far as when do I think Uncle Howdy will appear, your guess is as good as mine. Maybe it goes down as early as Monday's Raw. Maybe it's a case where SummerSlam. Maybe it's a case where whenever Seth Rollins pops up, boom. Your guess is as good as mine. For now, I'm just loving the whole QR code stuff. I love these little riddles, and it almost kind of reminds me of how when I was a kid, I know a lot of you older folks can relate to this, but it almost reminds me of how when I was a kid and sometimes my parents would take me to Pizza Hut or we'd go to McDonald's, and we used to get these fun little activities with the kids' meal. And, we'd get some type of a puzzle that we had to solve. Maybe it was some type of a hangman word letter game or some type of a maze or a riddle, some little cool, quirky little thing like that. I like this stuff. I like that we're still incorporating the stuff that Bray Wyatt used to do. May he rest in peace. I love that Bo Dallas and crew, are pretty much taking those same elements and incorporating them in this whole new chapter that involves this Uncle Howdy character. It's so funny because I remember talking to a fellow classmate of mine a couple of weeks ago, and when he found out that I do a podcast, and because it was part of my presentation, I had to give like this PowerPoint presentation in class, and when he found out that I was a big wrestling fan, he asked me, hey, what do you think about the idea of the new Uncle Howdy stable? And I said to him, well, who's potentially the members? And he goes, well, it seems as though it's going to be Nikki Cross. I said, okay, I'm down with that. Who else you got? Dexter Loomis is rumored. I'm like, okay, well, that sounds pretty good. I'm down with that. Who else you got? And there was two other names he threw at me. I can't remember them now, but I remember coming right back saying, yo, under different circumstances, it would be cool if Matt Hardy could be part of that. It'd be cool if Dijak could be part of that too. He liked the idea of Dijak, but he said, yeah, one thing though, we got to remember, we just saw Dijak in NXT, and we saw what's happening with him and everything. Like, sadly, it's too late for that. It'd be one thing if Dijak was off TV for months, then okay, cool, let's go there. But since it's the opposite, like that wouldn't be a good idea. I countered that with, Braun Strowman. Like, sadly, you can't, because we've already seen him resurface. Like, yes, exactly. So I'm just enjoying the journey like you guys. And as I always like to say to you all, when it comes to stuff like that, just enjoy the ride for what it's worth. Instead of trying to figure out where they're going to pop up, how they're going to pop up, just appreciate the journey that we're on right now. Just kick back, enjoy the ride, be entertained. Let the suspense continue to build up and all of that. Because if you're so focused on, okay, so where, you're going to miss all the other stuff that's happening in between. So just kick back and enjoy the ride. All right, so on that note, looking at the polls one more time, seeing where we're at. No change, by the way. We're pretty much still exactly where we are, which is fine. Programming notes. Let's wrap up the show. Gonna be live with you guys Sunday night going into Monday when AEW Double or Nothing wraps up for the night. So tune in for that. That's going to be a fun post show. And then, of course, I'll be with you guys Monday night after WWE Raw goes off the air. So some solid shows. I can't believe we're doing 3 shows back to back to back over the next couple of days, but it is all good. Hey, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Much love to them. There's actually one new sponsor that we hooked up with, and I can't wait for our listeners to hear their ad and everything. I'm going to officially be mentioning them on the Double or Nothing post show and all the other shows going forward. I'm really happy to be working with them. Nice gentleman that I had spoke to right as the weekend started. He is a disabled veteran that has his own respected business. And when I was properly being introduced to him, and we're talking and everything, it's really solid company that he has, good service that he's trying to provide and everything. So I'm looking forward to sitting down, putting the ad together and all that, and happy to have him on board as a sponsor. Shout out, meantime, to the good folks over there at the Orange and Blue Glory. If you are a diehard Florida Gators fan and you bleed orange and blue, then Orange and Blue Glory is the place for you. Join their vibrant Facebook community dedicated to celebrating every touchdown, every victory, and every moment of Gator greatness. Orange and Blue Glory is where passionate fans come together to share the latest news, game highlights, and insider updates on their beloved Florida Gators football team. You're able to participate in exciting discussions, show your team spirit, whether you're celebrating a big win or analyzing the next game. This is your home for all things Gators. Look them up on Facebook. Also, shout out to our sponsors over at moderntech.co. Make sure you put that .co in there, moderntech.co, where you can get your website and software ERP services done right with 100% satisfaction guaranteed. The best place for mobile applications and web apps. Get your Android and iOS app done right and for a discounted price. Check them out today, moderntech.co. Shout out to all of you guys as well. Appreciate the love and the support as always. Represent the show. Check it out on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcast. We're on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn. Just use the keywords, the RCWR show. And until next go round, my pretty babies, I am wishing all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you all next go round. Adios. Take care.